Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Jane here. Welcome to Jane by Design. Today I'll be showing us how to make this lovely, beautiful maxi dress with a backless design. Okay, so if this is something you're interested in, watch the video to the end. Subscribe to the channel. Ensure to like and share my videos. So here I have all the materials. I have this in 3 yards. I have an elastic, 1 inch elastic band. I have my pencil and then I have my scissors as well. So I'm just going to do a little illustration of what this ground is expected to look like. Okay, so I'm just going to draw out what I'll be needing. So it's going to be in two parts. There's going to be a top and there's going to be a bottom for this dress. Now for the top, I'm going to just draw out a rectangle. So this rectangle, from the top of the rectangle to the waistline, is going to be 11 inches. Now, but because we are going to be folding in the neck area where we are going to be attaching a strap, so we are going to be adding 1.5 inch to that. So if you add 1.5 inch at the top for the casing where we are going to be attaching the strap plus 11 inches, that will give us 12.5. Okay, now for the lower part, you're going to be adding extra 1 inch to it, or half inch thereabouts. We are going to be adding half inch to the lower part. Now for the width of this rectangle, I'm going to be making use of 22 inch, and the reason why I'm going to be making use of 22 inches so that when we gather it at the neckline, it covers the boobs. Okay, the sides of your boobs will not be popping out. Especially if you are busty, the sides of your boobs will not be coming out. So that is why I'm using 22 inch. So I would advise, since it is a backless dress, you make use of a 22 or more so that you have the gathered effect at the front of the dress. Now for the lower part, I'm going to take from the waist down to the length of the dress. And for the waist down to the length of the dress, I'm going to make use of 45 inch. So 45 inch is going to be from the waist down to the length of this dress. And for the waist, I'll be adding extra 1.5 inch to it for the elastic casing that we're going to pass through at the waistline. Okay, so that's what we are going to be doing for this. And then for the lower part, for folding the lower part, we are going to be using 1 inch to fold. So like I said, for the waistline, we're going to be adding 1.5 inch extra because we're going to be using a 1 inch elastic casing, elastic for it. And then for the lower part, I added extra 1 inch to it to use and fold the dress. Okay, so for the width of the lower part, for the width, you're going to be using your waist circumference times 3. So my waist is 30, times it by 3, multiply it by 3. I had 90, so I'm going to be cutting out 90 for the width of my the lower part because you really want it gathered. Now moving on to cutting this illustration on the fabric, you can see what I have already. I've cut out the rectangle on my fabric. I'm just going to measure it to ensure that I have the accurate measurements that I need. Okay, so now here is what I have. Remember I said the width is going to be 22 inch, but because I wanted it to have like a lining, so I used the fabric as a lining. I decided to cut out 22 folded by 2. So I folded my fabric into 2, and this is what I have. I still have my 22 but folded into 2. So automatically I have like a cover inside, like a lining for this front piece alone. So after we've gotten this upper part, we are going to go ahead and just join the sides. So I'm going to join the sides, and then the top, I'm going to create a casing for the top so that we can create the strap that we're going to use for the top. All right, so here I'm going to take this to my sewing machine now, and then we are going to go stitch close the sides. We're going to stitch this side. We're going to also stitch close the upper part as well. All right, we are going to stitch close the upper part, and then we are going to now create a casing for the upper part. So for the straps that I'm going to be attaching at the top of this dress, I went ahead to cut out a very long strap. You can cut as much as 60 inches depending on how long you want your strap to be. So what I did was to cut out a strap that is very long, and then I cut out this strap in the width of the strap is 1 inch. That's because I'm going to fold it into two. By the time I fold it into two, it will be half an inch, and then I'm just going to stitch by 0.25. I don't want the strap to be too fat. You understand what I mean? So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this strap as long as I want it to be. I even have more than what I needed. Okay, you can go ahead and cut as much as you want depending on how long you want your own strap to be. But I went ahead to cut out as long as 60 to 70 inches depending. So now after cutting out the strap and it's in the width of 1 inch, I'm going to take this to my machine and I'm going to stitch it together. I'm going to fold it into two. You can see the way I'm doing, and then I'm going to go stitch it down. All right, so I'm going to go stitch it down, and after stitching it down, I will be turning the strap inside out. I'm going to be turning it inside out to reveal the good side. So you're going to fold it right sides facing each other, and then take it to the sewing machine and stitch down. Okay, so after stitching down, we'll move back to the main bodies. Okay, for the lower part of this dress, now I have cut out the lower part. I told you I went ahead to cut out my waist times 3, so I multiplied my waist 30 times 3, and that gave me 90. So what I have here for the lower part of this dress is 90 inch. Now what I'm going to do now is to go ahead to take it to the machine. I'm going to create an elastic casing. So we are going to be attaching an elastic to the waist of this. So I'm going to go create a casing at the waistline of this skirt. So I'm going to go stitch down and ensure that the elastic casing you're creating is wide enough to contain the 1 inch elastic we have. So I'm going to take this now to the machine to create the casing where the elastic is going to pass through. So now moving on to the top. For the top, I'm going to now fold it in. After we've joined the sides, we've closed off the sides of this top. So I went ahead to fold in 1 inch, because the strap we're going to be passing through is half an inch. So 1 inch fold casing is okay for the straps. So I'm folding in 1 inch and I'm pinning it down. Okay, after pinning down, I will take to the sewing machine and I'm going to run a stitch on it to create the casing. So there, this is what it looks like for the front. I've pinned it down. Now I'm going to take to the machine to stitch it down. I'm going to stitch it down by 0.25. So this is what my strap looks like. I have also stitched it as well. Okay, I've stitched down the sides of this top and the lower part. So I've stitched down my strap, and after stitching down my strap, I will go ahead and turn it inside out. See, this is what the strap looks like after turning it inside out. Now you will need your elastic, your safety pin, to be able to pass this strap through the casing that we've created at the top of this dress. So but I'm going to set this aside now, and we are going to be working on the lower parts of this dress. So for the lower part, same thing that we did for the top is what we're going to be repeating for the lower parts. And this is the elastic that I'm going to be using for the skirt part. This elastic is in 1 inch. So what you need to do for this elastic is to get your waist circumference, and you're going to be taking out 3 inches away from your waist circumference. So the length of the elastic that I'm going to be passing through for the skirt is going to be 27 inches. My waist is 30 inches. So by the time I minus 3 away from 30, I have 27 inches. So the length of the elastic that I'm going to be using for this skirt, for the waistline of this skirt, is 27 inch. So now I've gotten 27 inch. I will go ahead now to cut it out. So because it's an elastic, you need to cut out lower than your size so that when it stretches back to your original waistline. Okay, so after we've cut out our elastic, this is what it looks like. I told you it's a 1 inch elastic, right? So I'm going to set that aside as well. So moving back to the skirt again, for the waist area, I'm going to be folding it by 1.5 inch, and the reason for that is that 1 inch is going to be for where the elastic is going to pass. So because you know that the elastic is 1 inch, and if you create exactly 1 inch, it might not really pass through. So I'm going to be folding in by 1.5 inch. Then I'm going to be stitching it down by 0.25. So what I'm doing right now is to fold in the waist of my skirt by 1.5 inch. I'm using my pins to secure it all around. So after folding it by 1.5 inch, I took it to the sewing machine and then I ran a stitch on it to close it off. So now I've created the casing for where the elastic will pass through at the waist. So after creating that casing, I went ahead to use my safety pin to pass the elastic inside the casing. You can see what the skirt looks like. You can see the gathers that we have at the waistline of the skirt. I've passed my elastic in. So what I'll do next now is to join the lower part and the top together. So to do that, I'm going to get the midpoint of the top. Okay, I'm going to just get the midpoint, and then I'll place a mark at the midpoint of the top before you insert your strap to the neckline. Okay, you do this before you insert your strap to the neckline. So I've gotten the midpoint of the top, okay, of the top of my dress. I've placed a mark at that point. Also, I will do the same thing for the skirt as well. I'm going to make sure that the gathers that I have on the waistline is evenly distributed. So if it is not, ensure that you arrange the gathers properly so that you can be able to get the midpoint and the gathers will be evenly distributed amongst these two sides. So here I am ensuring that my gathers are even on both sides, and then I folded it into two to get the midpoint of the skirt. So now I've gotten the midpoint, and then I created a mark. I just marked it with my chalk at that point. So now you've created the mark at the midpoint of your skirt and also at the midpoint of the upper parts of your dress. So the next thing to do now is to join these two pieces together. So remember that the elastic is already inside the skirt. So you're going to now place these two pieces together, matching the two midpoints that we have marked already at the top and at the skirt. You're going to match these two pieces together. After matching them together, you're going to just use your pin to hold them both down. All right, so you can see the way I'm placing it. Right sides facing each other, place it on top of each other, right sides, and then use your pin to secure that midpoint. All right, use your pin to secure that midpoint. Then after you've secured, what you are going to do is to take this to your sewing machine and you are going to stitch. Now the trick there is that while you are stitching these two pieces together, you're going to be stretching the skirt part. Not stretch too much. Do not stretch it too much so that it doesn't overstretch. So as you're joining the top to the skirt, you're stretching it out a little so that you also have that gathering effect on the front part of this dress. I hope you understand. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch it together. I'm going to hold down the lower part and the top of this dress. So after that is done, here is what we have. You can see this is it. The lower and the upper part has been joined. The front piece of this dress has been joined to the lower part, and you can see the gathering we have on the waist, and also we have this gathering also at the waist part of the dress. So the next thing to do now is to close the back of this dress. So I'm just going to turn it inside out, right side facing each other on the inside. Then I'm going to take to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch it closed by 1 inch. So I'm going to run a stitch from the waist, all the way from the waist down to the hemline of this dress. So that's what I'll be doing now. Take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch. And after that is done, I'm going to also hem the lower part of this dress. So remember, I left out 1 inch for the lower part, so I'm going to be hemming this dress by 1 inch at the lower part after we have closed the back of this dress. After that is done, this is what it looks like. Okay, so the next thing, the only thing that is left for us to do is to pass the strap into the casing we created at the top. So to do this now, I'm going to be using an elastic, I'm going to be using a safety pin to secure the straps, and then I'm going to push it into the casing. And as you are pushing, you keep pushing until it comes out from the other end of the casing. All right, so that's what I'm doing right here. I've secured this strap with my safety pin, and then I've gone ahead to push it into the casing. And then after pushing it into the casing, I'm going to just keep pushing it in until the strap comes out from the other end of this casing. All right, so that's it. It's very easy and simple. Now after the strap comes out from the other end of the casing, you can now go ahead and take out your safety pin. And yeah, this is what it looks like. So what to do now is to gather it up, and then you're going to be tying this on your neck. So this is going to go around your neck. Okay, so now after we've passed this strap or on the casing at the top, we are going to just tie it up to see what it looks like. So this is what our dress looks like. It's beautiful. You can see the backless effect going on there. I'm going to go try this on so that you guys can see what it looks like on me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watched to this point, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing to the channel, and thank you for sticking by with me all this while. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys on to the next one. Stay blessed. Bye.